Hey, YouTube. YouTube pimping. Well, I never went so far as to call it YouTube pimping before. But the story that's circulating today has inspired me to see things in a different way. Pimping. I sometimes talk about pulpit pimps, people who pimp the church, get people to give their money and so forth. But it's so much deeper than that, even just with the church people. Do you know how many elderly people have signed over their homes to the church, to their churches, as opposed to their families? We have no idea the depths of thievery that goes on in the church. This is how a lot of them got their buildings. Do you know a lot of those buildings used to belong to other people? And they've donated. They've been convinced. The pimps, they spot weakness and they spot age. And they know you're getting older, so they cater to you. And then at some point, sign on the dotted line. And those families are cheated out of their legacy. One kind of pimping. Pimping in the street. One thing I noticed about pimps in the street, they're always hitting on women. Now you would say, what kind of person is going to talk to some dude in a purple suit with rhinestone glasses and some hideous monstrosity of a hat tilted to the side? Why would you speak to that person? But you know what? That's how they make their living. They just keep on throwing that line out. And eventually they'll catch a weak one. They'll catch a weak one. That's what they count on, see? That's pimping. You don't got to get all women. You might speak to 1,000 women. Try to hit on 1,000 women. If you get 2, that's your income for that year. Pimping, taking advantage. Also, tricks get treated in a similar way on the street. We always talk about the woman who is the victim. But also, I'm from the streets. I know a little bit about what goes on in the streets. There are so many tricks. Lonely old men who are constantly taken advantage of by the prostitutes. Maybe it's vicariously flows to the pimp, but you don't got to have no pimp to take advantage of somebody, to spot a weakness and take advantage, exploit it. Okay, it covers church and street. I want to talk today about this situation here on YouTube. This dude named Matthew, what's his name? Matthew Milam. I found this story fascinating. I don't know if it's just a couple days old, whatever. I did go and watch his brother's video, and it was so sad to watch. When I finished making this video, I got to go in the other room because that's where I saved it at, and I'll post it in the description. I want you guys to listen to this and just be cautious. Doesn't mean you have to act or do anything drastic or stop giving to people, but I think his story is important. Because what is happening in this story, in my opinion, is here's a man who made the mistake of letting these people online know that both his parents has died within a year. I think one in 16, one in 17, one in 18. Both his parents died, right? I don't know if he was the only child, but a smart person, and apparently he bumped into one, would realize, okay, if both parents have died, that means the inheritance has come to this guy. That's the impression I get. This man has inherited some money. Now, even though he didn't say that, my sense told me that immediately. It's the first thing I picked up on. You announced that both of your parents had died within the year. He fell into this person online. I am going to say the names, but this is not about that person, about her. This is more about him. Recognizing, what is it about both of them? Okay, so he started giving money to this person, Mona Simone, right? They hollered her brain. She's a smart girl. She recognized this boy, got all his money sitting over there, and he don't know what to do with it. As he's making this video, he's sitting in an empty apartment with no furniture. $8,000. He gave her over $8,000. She said it was more. That could have bought a lot of furniture. He ain't had no $8,000 giveaway. I believe his parents passed away, and he probably inherited whatever they had. Insurance, the house, whatever. And he started giving it to this woman. He gave her $8,000 in a year. Over $8,000. And she brags that it's even more than that. Now, maybe she feels entitled to this money. Let me give you another example. Many things are coming into my brain at the same time. When these telemarketers call your house, they're telling you some ridiculous story, how you got to send money here and send money there or something. Or they say they're from the computer support team and your account's been breached and all these different scams that they run. They know that the majority of people are going to hang up on them. They know that. They're only looking for the one who won't. See, they want your great-grandmother. They want your great-grandmother, 97 years old. They want her to answer the phone. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they'll get lucky and they'll come across somebody who's got dementia. Not in full control of their mind, knows the account numbers perhaps. They'll look for that person. Some broken person, and then they'll just bleed that person, right? And they'll sell them whatever the kind of bullshit they're selling them. So they know that the majority of people are not going to fall for their scam. But that's not the point. The point is the person who will. You see, you do massive. There was even a scandal recently with a church guy. He just had massive amounts of these robocalls. And every once in a while, maybe 10, 12 a day, they catch one. Catch a fish. And bleeding for everything he got. Okay, I think that's enough examples of what pimping is. Taking advantage of people. See, it takes a certain amount of character to not take advantage of people. Right? When people, don't tell all your business online. Don't tell people that your parents have died. Don't tell people shit. It's none of their goddamn business. Don't tell people where your job is. Don't tell people where your accounts are kept. Don't tell people nothing. Don't even let them know that you like to give. You like to give back. As soon as they identify you, they're preaching right to your ass. This guy, Matthew Milam, lonely guy. He obviously suffers from low self-esteem. He's overweight. He's young. He's college educated. Overweight. He makes references to his weight, and that's not a judgment of mine. This is what he said. He makes reference to his bald head, and he just seems like a kind of a sad sack kind of a person. And he's probably still mourning the passing of his parents. If he was very close to his parents, or he was a mama's boy or whatever, he's suffered some major loss. Predators identify that. Now, whether this girl, Mona Simone, went fishing for this man or not, she recognized at some point that he had that money over there. And she did not have enough character to say, no, Matthew, you don't have to do that. You've given me $1,000. It's more than anyone's ever given me online. Thank you. The proper answer would have been, thank you. Not give me more. It takes a certain amount of character to be able to resist taking advantage of a vulnerable person. Mona Simone apparently failed the test. She couldn't resist. People, be cautious of these people. It takes a certain amount of character to say no. You know what? Every time I go off on one of these hoes, or one of these people, people tend to like when I go off on people, right? They always say, where's your Cash App? Where's your PayPal? We want to send you something. Or such and such. You know what I always say? No. I don't want or need your money. I just don't need to be bothered with it. I'm not here trying to collect your money. Because when you start giving me money, it's going to be about the money. Same thing happens in the church. When they get in there with the best of intentions. They want to be in ministry and all that. When that money starts coming, it becomes a game of collecting money. I ain't on here for that, child. I have my own resources. Anyway, we're not talking about, this is not about me. This is about Matthew Milam. This poor guy, hopefully she didn't get all of his money. At some point, he realized in January that he was not going to give her any more of his money. And she pulled back from him. of course. See, Matthew, it is your fault. It's partly her fault for not being able to resist the temptation to take your money. And it's partly your fault for offering it in the first place. You don't send some person online thousands and thousands of dollars. You just don't do it. So he said this is an expensive lesson he's learned, an expensive lesson he's learned, perhaps the most expensive lesson he's ever learned. Hopefully he's learned this before he spent all of his parents' money and all of their legacy. But it was just heartbreaking to hear that story. I'm not going in and around on Miss Mona Simone. I know some people are waiting for that. A lot of people are going to go off on her and say you're a viper and all that kind of stuff. I think she was presented with a situation, and this person was giving her thousands of dollars, and she couldn't resist. She couldn't resist it. That's the challenge. Are you strong enough? That's why I don't like begging. Begging to me is just one of the most disgusting things a person can. When I was a dope fiend, I be on the street, I could not even ask a person. For some reason, I always came up with exactly, this is in the early days, I always came up with exactly $20, right? You got to call a dope man, tell him where you're at and where to meet you at. I could not ask somebody for 50 cents. I would end up walking for miles because I couldn't bring myself to be out there asking for a quarter and nickels and stuff. There are some people who do that all day long. That's all they do. They beg. So if they were on a higher echelon, they would still be begging. The begging. People, just do what you do. If you want to be of use, you want to be of service, somebody wants to give you a few dollars, just accept this. And the proper response is thank you, not give me more. So this is fire and water coming together, honey. I'm sure Miss Mona Simone, perhaps she feels bad about it. Hopefully, I don't know the resolution to this. He was obviously offering her. I don't think she would have the mind to just go out and ask this man to send her thousands and thousands of dollars. He started giving it. She got hooked on his gifts. It was probably her main source of income at that point, and she couldn't say no. Give me more. I've seen it dozens of times with tricks. That's why I don't have no prostitutes. No, honey. I'm 60. That's the legend of what happens to the gay man. They end up paying for it. Not me. I know too much about the game. People will take advantage of you. They recognize your weakness. They recognize your loneliness. And they will take advantage. And it takes a certain amount of character to not take advantage of such a situation. Now, whether Ms. Mona Simone wants to admit it or not, she is wrong in this. Maybe it wasn't intentional. The man said she was calling him all times, hours of night and day, whatever, probably trying to catch him at his weakest, most lonely time. It didn't look like he had anybody in his life. If he had somebody in his life, he would buy furniture. Lost both parents within a year's time. Low self-esteem. Lonely. I'm going to post his link here. I want you guys to hear his story. I think it's beneficial to the world. No, I'm not coming for Miss Mona Simone. I don't know anything about her. I know she has a sharp tongue, so if she wants to fight back, she can. Sometimes I just say, I recognize my part in this. I should have said no. I should have told that man, go put your money in the bank. Go and buy yourself some furniture. That's what you do. You see the man's house empty. He's sitting on the floor. You know what, Matthew? Go and buy yourself a couch today. Don't say, Matthew, why don't you send me that money and I can use it for what kind of medical system doesn't provide a wheelchair? Come on. What kind of Medi-Cal you got? They don't even provide a wheelchair. You're supposed to crawl on the floor. That stuff is all paid for. If she has any kind of medical insurance, it's all paid for. It was a scam. All right. I'm not going to say much more. I'm not going to dig much more into this story. I do feel for this guy. You guys send him some love. Just go over there and watch this video and just give him a like. I think a like would mean a lot to this guy. He needs to get away from thinking you have to pay for things. You have to pay for somebody to like you. You don't. They can just like what you say. You know, I appreciate that. I like what you said. My own lover. My own lover, after we were together a couple of years, he was older than me, 7 years older than me. Right? We got in this fight. We broke up. And he moved out. He got mad and moved out. And then he wanted to come back. Maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever. And he told me, Tim, I'll give you $1,000. And he worked at a bank. I did not want this boy to go stealing from the bank to give me money. Why would you even think of that? That you have to give me money? I don't want your money. Yeah, I teased him a little bit. Where's my $1,000? You know. He didn't realize that someone could just love him. At that point. I mean, we grew past that. But he was always offering to give me stuff. You ain't got to give me stuff. I like you because I like you. And I love you because I love you. All right, Brother Matthew. Best of luck to you. My prayer is that you have not sent her all your money. At some point, you did stop. You did realize that you were just being taken advantage of. Stop, boy. It happens to lots of people. Identify it, recognize it. Just keep your come here. Get it. Just do what you like to do and don't involve money. Try that. There are people on YouTube that are constantly begging. They always, I don't know what it is with these people who feel like people are supposed to give them their money. I don't know where you came to that conclusion because you recognize that they will, so now you take advantage of it. I don't see why you're constantly begging people. Take it any way you want to take it. Take it any way you want to take it. But I don't know what you think is so glorious and wonderful about you that people are supposed to give you their money. At least the preachers, they have the rules. Oh, you're giving it to God to build up the kingdom of God. Y'all don't even got no God. I mean, it's just give it to me. I'll pray for you, Matthew. I'm glad you stopped.